Hi folks, with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. Please listen to this presentation as you would a radio broadcast. In this essay, I'd like to talk about one of many Euro docu-dramas and shortish movies that they show in high schools across Europe and elsewhere that support the idea, A, of mass migration, but B, in particular, push the notion or categorically assert, in fact, that all deportations, no illegal aliens can possibly be illegal. They're in the West for the best and the most provable and supportable reasons, so it's alleged, and therefore any deportation, no matter what, is immoral. It's wrong and it's immoral. So now I'm watching one that's got the on one side the entertainment, some impossibly good-looking, police officers. The woman that plays one of the police officers is a former beauty queen, and she's still in her 20s. And I've never seen a female cop who looks that hot. The setting as it goes on is her boyfriend's black, and the other boyfriend she had before that was brown. So she's clearly a very moral person. No white supremacist Nazis for her. Whoa. Now she is going to get an abortion, which just goes to show how evil the misogynist patriarchy is. So now the first cases she deals with are the oppression, evil men oppressing women and beating them up, family violence, the patriarchy, the misogyny, and so on. But she's one tough, stunning, and brave chick. She fights back. She puts those fucking male white Nazi fucking Christians in their place. And has good harmonious relations with all the brown and black people around her, who, by the way, are morally superior to all the white people. There's a riot in the city, and the city where she works, or in the area where she works as a cop. And wouldn't you know it, every one of the rioters is a straight white Christian male. Wow, not a single black or brown people among them. Now, if you look at the riots in this place, as in race rights stuff, it's always black people and brown people. I mean, you'd struggle to ever find it. No, that's all reversed. So straight away, they've gone into the land of fantasy and delusion. All white people, especially men, bad. All brown people of all types, good. And that's the divide. So you have to, that's the moral sort of compass setting, if you like, for the show. Then it comes to this idea where illegal aliens are going to be deported back to their country of origin. So now there's a guy, or some of them, but one in particular, claiming that he was beaten and tortured by the authorities in the country that he comes from, the police, whatever the authorities are in that country. So, and he was beaten so badly and tortured so badly that he couldn't move, and he wasn't given medical attention. But somehow during his recuperation, even though he was so badly beaten he couldn't walk or move and this sort of stuff, even that, he was nonetheless able to travel 11,000 kilometers across 17 different countries to get to Western Europe. Now, if I was an investigator, I would ask a question. Well, hold on a minute. If you were immobilized due to this horrendous torture that you suffered, and you were penniless, you had nothing, everything was taken from you, how were you able to put together the resources and just the health and the fitness to travel all that time? Well, you didn't need much money because you walked most of the way. All right, then let's explore that. So you walked most of the way. How did you do that if you were tortured to the point where you're immobilized? How could you possibly walk, thousands of kilometers, thousands of miles, if you were in such a poor state of health? And they done this and done that to you and broken your legs and so on. Can we do an X-ray? Let's have a look at these breaks. So the claims that are made are very consistent with the sort of narratives that the NGOs and the people smuggler type groups and all this sort of thing are very, very consistent with that. Just the same, you could almost just sort of, here's from the list, pick something. I'm gay, I was tortured, I was, but you know, you just pick off a list. And so he's this supposed guy. Now, they mentioned just once the name of the place he comes from, and even then I had to go back and replay it to pick it up. And you find that it's actually, you know, even further east than Afghanistan. No one's even heard. It's one of the most unknown places in the world, I figure. So no one would even fuck, where's that? And they just wouldn't know. And it has a sound where it could easily be, say, somewhere in North Africa. Nonetheless, there's no questioning of this. The movie doesn't, or the docudrama doesn't attempt to explore that. There is a couple of them say, these illegals, they'll say anything to escape. But then the morally superior people, the beauty queen woman, she said, well, it can't be untrue because he said that he's been tortured and beaten, so it must be true. We must accept it as true. Even if we can't verify it, if we can't prove it, you know, how it's very suspicious that someone who claims to have been beaten, tortured, and immobilized that way could travel such a distance without any money or resources. But you know, we need to just forget about it. Forget about the facts. Forget about the reality. We have to live in the fantasy, and the fantasy is all these oppressed brown and black peoples everywhere. The white people must accept them, and if you don't, you're fucking Hitler. And it's as simple as that. So the delusional fantasy is running around everywhere. Now, I wouldn't mind if both sides were explored, because these meant to be police officers, you know, who are going to do a bit of detecting, ask questions. And wouldn't they sort of, how did you travel that far with no money and while you were so badly injured? How did you do it? I would be asking questions like that, but no. To even ask those sort of questions means you doubt the claim of the brown person. If you're a white person doubting the claims, unsupported, unverified, unproven claims of the brown person, then you're already an immoral Hitler just by doubting them or questioning them, which makes you a Nazi, if not Hitler personally. So this is the narrative that they spin. Now, the claim is that, or the assertion is that everybody who illegally comes to the West is legitimate. It doesn't matter if they're illegal or they've crossed through 17 different countries. That's just utterly irrelevant. Now, the reason that this docudrama posits is that we can't send them back to the country of origin because it'll be unsafe. Unsafe, which is like a catch-all term, meaning, you know, like safe space or, you know, this sort of thing. So it's just a catch-all term that has really lost all meaning. It's been completely debased from now. So if we deport this guy back, then he might be persecuted again by the authorities, assuming that he was persecuted in the first place. The way it was in the show, he seemed in remarkably good condition for someone who's been through such a harrowing experience. But anyway, now it turns out he's been hanging around Europe for quite some time, but he can't speak any European language. He doesn't speak English, or he doesn't speak any language. And this isn't this suspicious. Like, if you were, why wouldn't you learn the local language or try, and, you know, that sort of thing. So these sort of things don't come up. Now, the same question could be, all right, then you're in danger, you're being persecuted by okay, all right, then let's accept that for a minute. Why didn't you move to the nearest safe country where you weren't sort of being persecuted by those authorities? Why not ask that question? Why did you travel through 17 different countries to get to Western Europe? Why are you only safe in the evil white Nazi Western Europe? Why didn't you just move to the nearest safe country? Or there are numerous United Nations refugee camps, all sorts of things in that area. Why didn't you go to one of them? Maybe he did, but that's not explored or not looked at. So if just safety was the issue, and their argument is here, if safety was the issue, then you could have moved to the nearest safe country. Why did you have to come to Western Europe? You have no skills, no education. You're just a village peasant. You can't speak the language. What is it? Why is Western Europe duty bound to take you in and supply all your needs? It's not like every Western country is running now quite large budget deficits, and they can't even afford to look after their own populations decently now. So why should someone else come in to freeload? That's not explored either. So it was all don't ask difficult questions. White people have no right to question the brown people. White supremacy, and all of these people, in any number, billions of them, are entitled to come to the West and receive residency or work permits or citizenship, all of the above. And anyone who dares question it is Hitler. So that's the thing. Now, such brazen one-sided propaganda is, and also done for consumption, like the really hot cop chick there. She's the stunning and brave one, standing up for the oppressed and all that. So it's pitched very much at the girly sort of thing, but it's they're obvious. I mean, they don't have much trouble recruiting women into supporting this. But again, they don't ask the questions. They don't deal with the facts. They stick doggedly to the delusion. Why should this person that's travelled through 17 safe countries to come to Western Europe, why should they be believed? Now, why didn't they stop in the first safe country? Given that we can't prove or verify, why did you throw away your passport when you got to Western Europe? Why do you have no documentation? And so on and so on. So the questions you could ask would be endless. But again, the assertion in this docudrama was to even ask these questions, particularly if it's a white person asking. Now, there's a couple of other things. The person is encouraged, will go to the human rights courts. So an illiterate sort of peasant is going to somehow go to, so you can only do that through the NGOs that are very well cashed up to look after these. But the United Nations, why isn't the United Nations dealing harshly with that country or that place, if indeed they are rando arresting and torturing and beating up their citizens? Why isn't there that? Why isn't that going on? So the whole lot of other things. So the nuance and complexity of but it shows, I think, the attitude of the globalist left is nothing. There is no acceptable reason, circumstances, or cause to permit morally to permit deportation, and that's really the message they're pushing. But they have to rely on, firstly, many lies to push this over the line, and to avoid dealing with any of the questions that inevitably would arise if any examination were undertaken. You've been a Fantasist today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.